Hi all, in this video I will show you the second mapping, that is I need to pick the data from a table and load the data into a flat file. So my source database table would be SQL Server and I would pick it from here and load the data into a flat file. Make sure, as I discussed earlier, all your database is up and running, all your applications are open, your mapping steps is open, the credentials, if you are sure, if you know the credential is good, otherwise open this. Let's start with the mapping steps. It is telling me to go to designer. Let's go to designer. Now in my designer tool I have this mapping. So how will you clear this workspace? Go to mapping tab and say close. So it's gone. It's always there in your repository until unless you physically delete it. Let's follow the first step. Import source definition where in my source analyzer. Now my source definition is customer underscore source, which I have already imported. So what you can do is you can skip the first step because it's already there with you, so no need to re-import it again. So you can directly jump to the second step. So the second step is import target definition where target designer. Now my target is a flat file. So if I go to my target designer, my target is a flat file. Now what you will do is that, as I discussed in the class, there are a couple of ways with which you can create this target as a flat file. First is a manual task, second is automated. We'll directly jump to the automated task. I know my target structure is same as source structure. So what I'm doing is, I'm in my target designer. I'm dragging this source structure in my target designer. Dragged, do a double click on this and rename this. What you will rename? I will rename this to flat file. Now if you rename this, it will not automatically become a flat file. So database, it's a table. So click over here and just type F and press tab. So now it has become a flat file. So your source structure and target structure, which means your two steps are done. Let's go to the third step. Go to mapping designer. The fifth is mapping designer. Drag source, then it will ask for a mapping name and provide a meaningful name. So let's drag the source. It is asking for a mapping name. So I'll say I'm reading the data from a table and loading the data into a flat file. Now we are aware of this, why it is coming, and drag target. So let's drag the target. So my target is a flat file as of now. What it is telling, fourth step, use transformation as per requirement. We are not using because we have not learned. Link the ports appropriately from source to target. So let's do this. Right click anywhere, select all, black arrow, first column, place the cursor in between, drag, and while releasing also you need to keep that in mind. So it's properly linked. Let's see the next steps. Save, check your mapping is valid or not. Let's do Control S and my mapping is valid. So we need to follow the same steps, no extra additional steps, same steps in the designer. So my mapping is created. Let's go to workflow manager. So this is my workflow manager. So what it is telling, click on workflow designer and create a workflow with a meaningful naming convention. So we have a workflow, under that we have session, and under session we have mapping. So let's do that. So if you'll see, it's already highlighted in my workflow designer. Go to workflow and say create. So follow the naming convention, WF underscore S underscore mapping name. Go to your designer tool, mapping, edit, Control C and Control V. Let's say OK. Next step, create a task that is session, and the naming convention is s_mapping name. So if you'll see workflow, to the right there is task, create, it's already session, tab, s_, we have already copied the mapping name, paste it. Let's see the next step. Associate mapping to your task, and your task is a session. How will you do that? So this is your session. If you say create, so out of the two, which is your mapping? My first. So this mapping will get associated to this session. So just say OK and done. How will you verify? Just do a double click on session. See, can you see this mapping name? m_table to flat file, which is assigned to this session. Let's see the next step. Link session to workflow. So where you will find this link? Task, link task, and just drag and drop. Next step, double click on session, go to mappings tab, double click on session, go to mappings tab, expand for a good view, assign source and target connection name. So source is a database and from it's a table. So if you go into your credentials, I have already shown connections in workflow. So what is your connection name for the source? It is Abbey Stage Rapid Santander. Let's go over here, click on source, and in this drop down icon from the SQL server, select Abbey Stage Rapid Santander and just say OK. Now my target is a flat file. Minimize this, minimize this. So this is the output file directory where your file would be written. For us, let's see, start, go to your my computer. For me it's C drive. In your case it would be iDrive. So iDrive, Informatica 9, server, InfraShared, target files. So I'll just delete this which is already created. So this path and this path means one and the same. Let's give the file name. I would give as, let's say, customer_batch37 flatfile.txt. That's it. Nothing else we need to do extra. Go to mapping steps, save, check your workflow is valid or not, and run your workflow and monitor the results. Let's do OK, Control S. My workflow is valid. Right click anywhere in this workspace and say start workflow. Once you say start workflow, come to your monitor tool. Can you see this workflow is running, successfully completed? So on this session, do a double click. So if you'll see 10 records are being read and 10 records are being written. Let's see that path. See, there is one file which has been generated. Do a double click on that and these are the 10 records from your source table. Now in this, if you see, there is no column name coming. So what we will do, we will populate the column name. How? Go to your workflow manager, double click on session, go to your mapping tab. We need to populate column name in targets, so click on targets, minimize this. Can you see this header options? It is mentioned no header. That's why no headers are being populated. Click on this and select the second option, output field names. Just say OK, Control S, right click, start your workflow. Come to your monitor tool, it's running, succeeded. Go back to that path again, refresh and open that file again. Maximize this. Now can you see your column names are being added? Copy this column names. Can you see this hash, which is a bug of Informatica in the crack version? So to remove this, we will do one more step. So again, go to your workflow manager, double click on session, go to your mapping tab, click on targets, minimize this, header option. In header option, from drop down, select the third option, use header command. So here we would be saying echo followed by the column names. Just say OK, Control S, right click, start your workflow. Come to your monitor tool, it's running, succeeded, do a double click, 10 records read, 10 records written, go to your path. Now if you open this, there is no hash symbol and the column names are copied appropriately. And one last thing, what we will do, every time when we were writing this file was getting overwritten. So earlier data was getting erased and new data was getting loaded. Now what I need to do is, if there is an existing data, I need to keep it, and the new data I need to add below that, which means append. So let's see that where when can achieve. Go to Workflow Manager, double click on session, go to your mapping tab, go to your target. Also, if you have noticed, your target as a flat file is generating a comma separated file. I don't need comma, I need another delimiter. So go to File Properties, click on Advanced. Can you see this comma? Change it to pipe symbol. OK and OK. What we need to do? Append if exists check mark, which means that if that file is already available, append the data. That's it. Two things are done. OK. Save this, right click and start workflow. Come to your monitor tool. It's running. Completed. Go back. Open that file again. So if you see, this was the earlier data, 10 records with the column names with a comma separated delimiter, and these are the 10 records which got appended to the existing file with a pipe delimiter. So this was a simple mapping demonstration wherein we are picking the data from a table and loading the data into a flat file. So please practice, and if you are facing any issues while implementing this, take a screenshot of the error or whatever issues you have, post in the WhatsApp group. I'll try to revert with a solution. Thank you.